Welcome back, Cardinals fans, to the podcast. Today we're going to talk about Albert Pujols' 700th home run. Some postseason news, and a lot of other stuff.
$700 home runs. One of only 4 players now to have done that. Unless you don't really want to count Barry Bonds because of the whole, I use steroids thing, you could say like one of 3 if you really want to nix him per se. But holy cow, I am not going to lie. I was kind of worried that he wasn't even going to have 700 at this point. I was talking to people, and I was worried that he was going to be a few shy going into this 6-game series, sort of, with Pittsburgh. And I was like, I don't know. But then he hits 2 in the same game, 699 and 700. 699, by the way, absolutely barreled that up, absolutely crushed it. Wasn't really expecting a second one to happen, and I'm sitting on my bed, just, having a good time, already excited that he hit 699, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then, boom, he hits another one, and I'm going like, what? I called you. I called another one of my friends, and I called a friend, just to be able, I'm like, this is freaking crazy. He hit 2, and now he's at 700. He could potentially get 701. He might not, he might not stay stagnant. He's got six more games against Pittsburgh to potentially, he's not going to beat Hank Aaron. He's not going to get 14 more in six games. But absolutely fantastic. And so good for him. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Going into the season, I didn't really give him much of a shot because he was 21 home runs. I was like, no way this guy, he's not going to get a lot of plate appearances. How in the world is he going to get to 700?
Yeah.
And then we're just seeing all this power, and like, I don't know the last time he hit 20 home runs in a season. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's really weird because it brings back. They always were talking about him turning back the clock. It really looks like he's bringing back that kind of energy, and it's weird because he has the energy now too. I didn't really see him a lot when he was playing with the Angels per se, but he was struggling obviously constantly with the Angels. But now he's back with St. Louis. He just is having a good time. He's having fun to the point where, he's not even worried about the ball. The fan took the ball and has the ball for 700, and he's like, that doesn't matter. That's just, souvenirs are for the fan. That's, that's for him. Whatever, fine. And then he said when we clinched the other day, he's having such a good time, but we clinch, and even he's giving the pep talk, being like, we cannot slow up. We got to keep going. He's got the championship energy that, it's so on fire right now. He wants it so bad, and I love that. Because, thinking I'm just having, you see YouTube videos of him hitting that go-ahead 3-run home run against Houston, and that one, what was it? Was that a wild card game? I don't remember. But iconic, and he could do that again. He can do that again. And he showed, obviously, by hitting 21 home runs to get to the historic 700 home run club record and mark, that going into this postseason, he can have another one of those iconic moments. I'm thinking of, we're down by 2. He's the go-ahead run. It could be a home game. It could be whatever. And he does it again. I mean, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah. Actually, my aunt sent me today. I just got it. The paper.
Look at that.
From that day with his majestic. It's like a full body
That is one of the best newspapers I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. This is probably going to get framed.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Kind of have to.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Ben Hoffman in that? Is our friend Ben Hoffman in that article, potentially?
I don't know, man. Another thing I want to talk about regarding its 700th, like, were you upset that the fan decided to keep the ball, or do you think it was fair game?
So, I initially was kind of like, oh, that's kind of, I initially, and I still think this, I think it's a little bit selfish that he didn't even offer to give back the ball. Like, it would have been different if he offered to give back the ball, but Pujols said, nah, you keep it, you're fine. But the fact that he, like, got it and kind of, like, ran away like he was stealing, that kind of was like, eh. But at the same time, you know, like Pujols said, it is just a ball. It is a souvenir. You know, home runs, if you catch it, the fans don't have to give it back to you, you know. But the fact that he didn't even offer just kind of felt a little off to me. Like with Aaron Judge, when he hit 660, the fan offered it back, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just...
And I think he just hit his 61st to tie Roger Maris. And I think it was caught by one of the... correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the Blue Jays bullpen coaches?
Yeah, because it went right over, like right by the railing where the fans were, but no fan was able to catch it, so it went into the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, did the coach give it back to him, or?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think he signed it or something, and his mother was there, I believe, as well, and it was a thing.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily have the biggest problem with him keeping the ball. I just think the fact that he felt the need to run away instead of just offering it back is kind of sucky. Because, like, you know, if it's a 700 home run ball, obviously it's very historic, and it's Albert Pujols. If you offer it back, he's going to give you something just as cool in return, you know?
Yeah.
Like, signed baseball bat, you know, all that other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
the guy that caught it, though, was a Dodgers fan.
Yeah, I think it was a Dodgers fan. There was a lot more Dodgers fans, obviously, at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Which they, by the way, have a franchise record.
I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Which home run is more historic? Pujols' 700 or Judge's 61st?
So let's, pros and cons. 61 home runs in one season. That's crazy. But the fact that 700 has only been hit 4 times in a career, and technically only, I guess, 3 if you want to, the whole Barry Bonds steroid effect, whatever. I feel like that is much greater of an achievement, is the 700 home run. I think the 61 home runs obviously is insane, really good for him. But the fact that only 3 other people other than Albert Pujols have done that in the history of baseball is insane, because that's not just one really, really, really good season like Aaron Judge is having with his 61 home runs. It's good, consistent seasons for a long period of time to be able to get to that number, which is absolutely crazy. You got to have the longevity. You got to stay healthy, and you still got to be able to hit. So I would say 700 is way more historic than the 61. However, 61 is still crazy good.
Yeah. Like, to get 700 home runs, you have to hit over 22 seasons. You have to hit average, like, 32 home runs, which is just insane. Like, to have that longevity, like, no one goes 22 seasons anymore. And to hit 30 home runs every season is almost impossible. I mean, people
Obviously.
are saying that, obviously, yeah, only 4 people have done it. And a lot of people are saying, will it ever happen again? And, I mean...
Not in my lifetime.
It might not. I mean, it's a really high number. I mean, I bet you we'll see 500, maybe 600, but 700 is astronomically high.
It's great. The last person to really do it, was Barry Bonds. Obviously, Barry Bonds' effect. But, like, think about when Hank Aaron did it. Hank Aaron did it, and everybody was, nobody thought it was going to happen again. And then now it's happened, and now it happened again, a perfect 700 right now. I don't think in my lifetime there's going to be somebody who's just as elite for that long. They might be, we might have another guy come up like Albert who becomes, the most feared hitter in baseball because he just becomes that good. But to be able to do it that well for that long, I don't think is applicable anymore in today's baseball because people don't go for that many seasons. Look at like Ichiro Suzuki. He didn't need to retire. It wasn't like he was forced to, but he chose to. It's also that instance, whether they choose to continue or not. And with the amount of money that they're making after 10 seasons in the big leagues, you might decide that you're done because you don't need to continue unless you are chasing something like that.
Yeah, and also on the other side, like teams don't want to like hold on to like 35-year-olds when they can just get a more athletic, cheaper option out of their minor league system,
Yep.
And then they can develop them and then get rid of them after 5-6 years. I mean, it's just cheaper. It's just business for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And keeping a guy playing that's like 40 years old is just... It doesn't really happen that often.
It's crazy. And we have 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they're all still competing. Wainwright, as of late, not so much, but I still, he's going to be in the postseason roster. He's going to be fine. I think the days of rest, not having him do it a little bit, is going to be really good for him. Yadi's Yadi. He's a different animal, man. He'll get smacked in the face, and he'll be like, "Let's ring go. Come on, I'm ready." But yeah, but okay, and then brings up a question that just kind of popped in my brain. Do you think? Because I think that if we get to the World Series, which I really think we have a very, very good chance at getting into, I feel like even though Waino hasn't said that this is his last year, I feel like he'll go out with Pujols and Yadi just for the sake of that camaraderie that they had, and we had such a historic good season.
Yeah, I think it is probably his last year, and he's just not wanting to overshadow his friends.
Yeah.
Because, like, some of the videos I've seen from the Cardinals are, like, commemorating his career, Yeah. And I don't think they would do that if he really was going to come back another year.
Exactly. I mean, he almost didn't even come back this year, Yeah.
Yeah, so Waino, he hasn't been pitching amazing. I don't think he's going to start in the wild card series. So actually, let's go through who do we think is going to be the pitchers for the 3 wild card games?
I think the first, because it's 3-game series, so you have to do 2. I think my top 2, I think the very first game, because you want to be able to get that good momentum and win that first game, I'd put Jordan Montgomery out on the bump.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for the second game, I'd put Miles Michaelis for the sake of the track record that they've had so far. I trust a little more. Quintana's good. But I trust Jordan Montgomery and Miles Michaelis a little bit more than the other guys we got. Waino right now obviously has been a little bit rocky. I feel like that's too much throwing the dice. If we have to play a third one, I would actually put Waino. Because as of right now, I don't trust Jack Flaherty in a 3-game series. Maybe in the divisional series, if we get to that point, I would put Flaherty in a game.
So you would pitch Waino over Quintana?
I think so. I feel like, but like only if a third game was necessary. I'm just going with the a little bit more of the feels kind of a thing, and I feel like he would clutch up well enough because he's been in that position. He's closed out a World Series. He's started in World Series games. I feel like he'd be able to handle the pressure. Like he did well in the wild card game against the Dodgers last season.
Yeah.
Just, didn't go in our favor. So I do think that he, given that experience, will take it well, and I think he'll have a good third game if we have to get to that point, which I don't want to play a third game in the wild card. I just want to be 2 games done with it, But we'll see.
Yeah, for my wild card, I would go Quintana as game 1, and then I would go Michaelis game 2, and I think I would go Montgomery game 3.
Okay.
Waino's just, he's not had it, and it's not just been like the last 2 starts, it's been like the last 5. So
yeah,
I don't know. You definitely keep him on the roster
for sure,
but I would say you won't pitch him until the
divisional series.
Next round. Yeah,
conference. It's division.
Yeah.
And speaking of divisions, we clinched. St. Louis Cardinals clinched our division. We are good in the neighborhood with that. But the Brewers are still hot on the postseason tail. They are only half a game back of our current matchup, if this season were to end today, with the Philadelphia Phillies. So who would you rather play? Would you rather play Philadelphia, or would you rather see, Milwaukee bump Philadelphia out, kind of give a little bit of an upset in that aspect?
One of my friends is a Brewers fan,
okay.
and every time I see him, I just remind him of how much the Brewers are bad, and so I really don't want to see. I think it would be funny if the Brewers didn't make the playoffs, but I think it's the best matchup for us. I think they're the worst team in the playoff hunt.
Okay. Really? You think they're worse than Cleveland?
Well, in the NL.
Okay.
Yeah. And
sorry, Cleveland.
And for that, that's why I think the Talking Baseball Pod said this too. The NL is much deeper than the AL. The Guardians are worse than any.
Baltimore's not even in the
team.
AL playoffs, yet they have a better record than the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the NL is stacked. You have the Dodgers, who set a franchise record of wins with 107. You have the New York Mets, who are competing, only 1 game out going into the 3-game series with Atlanta, and both of those teams are, competing for their divisions, but also making the postseason anyway. Those 2 teams are really tough to play. And then we're either going to have to play Philly or Milwaukee, and then San Diego is in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really worried about any potential World Series matchup that the Cardinals will have to face. I feel like as my surprise American League team is Seattle. I don't want to see Houston. No. Just for the sake of, I just don't want to see them again. Not for the sake of that I'm scared. I just don't want to see them. But I'm not even scared if it has to be a New York Yankees St. Louis Cardinals World Series. I'm not scared of the Yankees. You know, we beat them at home, so I'm not worried about any of the American League teams. I kind of hope we don't have to play the Dodgers to get to the World Series. I kind of hope the Dodgers get knocked out in the divisional series. But we'll see. We'll see.
So, the wild card games are in like a week, right?
Yeah. I think they start next weekend or something like that.
The 7th, 8th, 9th of October?
Mm-hmm.
You got plans to go to those games?
No. At the moment, I do not. I don't necessarily, on a college budget, have the money to spend for the expensive tickets to go to those games. However, I do have plans for watch parties, though. I can afford that. I can afford the TV. So I do intend on watching it with some friends and having a party and having a good time because it's going to be good. The history is there and the talent is there for the Cardinals to go all the way.
Mm-hmm. One thing, like after the Cardinals clinched, someone gave Lars Newpark a microphone, and someone started videotaping him. And what resulted, I mean, it's just incredible. You need to go watch it for yourself.
It is one of the best videos I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, even if you're not a big baseball guy.
Oh, he's just he's so funny.
Yeah.
He is, he's such a guy. I love Newpark. And I'm not going to, I have this weird feeling that he is going to come up so clutch. I feel like he's going to be our clutch guy in the lineup for the postseason. You know, like Lance Berkman was kind of the 2011 World Series winning clutch hitter. I kind of feel like it's going to be either either Newpark or Brendan. I think Brendan Donovan is just going to kind of continue what he's been doing, getting on base with walks, working counts. Mm-hmm. But I think Newpark might be the guy where it's like, this is like maybe the only shot we get to try and tie this game with a guy in scoring position that he's going to get like a squeaky little base hit to tie the game or something. I feel like he might be the clutch guy. We'll see, though.
Yeah. We got a really good Mets-Braves series coming up.
Yeah.
That I think, if you're into baseball, that's the stuff to watch right now.
That is must-watch TV right there. Who is going to get that bye? Oh.
Yeah. I think some of the Cardinals games are going to be fairly interesting, but since they've already clinched, I'm not sure they're going to produce the most
exciting
competitive lineups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might play a little more Alec Burleson and
Bendeluzio guys, yeah.
Yeah, Bendeluzio. We don't want to slow down. We still want to keep our pedal to the metal and keep winning games to keep that rhythm going into the postseason, but we might give those younger guys a little bit more of a chance. You know?
Yeah. It's definitely a balance. Because you don't want to work these guys so hard they got nothing left in the playoffs, but you want them to be ready.
Tyler O'Neill, I know, is a question mark for the postseason roster. Same
as Hicks.
Hicks is also. Do you think Paul DeJong is in the postseason roster? I wouldn't.
I mean, so up the middle you got Edman, Donovan. I'm thinking you got to have one more guy up the middle, right?
Yeah, so I think I would do Gorman rather than Paul DeJong, personally.
Really?
Yeah. I
might do DeJong.
You might do DeJong?
Because he's just much better defender. But yeah, it is kind of a wasted spot if you can't even hit.
Yeah. We'll see, though. But, shortstops who can hit, in a little bit of a minor leagues in AAA, a minor league prospect that we have, Delvin Perez. He's a shortstop prospect. He thought he hit a home run. He bat flipped. He was trotting around the bases, but the wind just pushed the ball. It was a warning track shot, just easy fly out for the outfielder. And Delvin did not even realize until he was like 15 feet away from home plate, and then he was like, "What?" But he had a good attitude about it. I thought it was cool, but we might honestly see him potentially soon, maybe next year, closer to the end of the season, especially if, I don't think Paul DeJong should come back for another season for the majors. It's for the Cardinals anyway. He could go to a different team. But we'll see. I saw Delvin here in Double-A Springfield for a little bit. He was doing fantastic, and now he's in Triple-A. Maybe he'll be there for another year or two. But I think potentially with how our up-the-middle situation is going, he may or may not, closer to the end of the season next year, see a few major league at-bats, depending on how well he does.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to play in the Arizona Fall League?
I think he is. He is? I know Jordan Walker is, like, for sure.
What about Mason?
I think Mason is as well. I would have to look up a little bit more of who's playing in there. But another minor league Cardinals player is the home run king of minor league baseball. Moises Gomez, 39 home runs in the minor leagues. That's kind of crazy in itself in Double-A. So good for him. Good on him. Cardinals, even the minor league systems are doing some good things this year. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see Jordan and Mason.
Mm-hmm.
They've been really hyped. But
Jordan's now playing outfield too.
Yeah.
He's been working on that a little bit.
The one prospect that's been kind of falling off the face of the earth is Matthew Liberator. I mean, he was supposed to be the ace. He was supposed to be the guy of the future, and I haven't heard a word about him in months.
I also have not really heard about him. I'm not going to lie to you, I got him a little bit confused with Jake Woodford.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Because, I don't know, they kind of looked the same or something. But, Matthew came up for a little bit, got sent back down, and I haven't heard a single thing. I haven't heard any, bad news, but I haven't heard anything saying, he's the starter and the stud that the Cardinals wanted him to be. So, I don't know. I really don't know. But we did well in the trade deadline, pitching-wise. So, I think we're okay.
Yeah, Mosaic actually did a really nice job with getting Q and Montgomery.
Yep.
I think the Sosa move was kind of an eh.
It was kind of. I mean, I don't really think that we were using Sosa to the best of our ability. I think he's definitely a good fit in Philly, a better defensive player than batter. But Jojo Romero's, it was that was definitely more of an move. But I don't think it was necessary. It didn't kill us or anything. Because Edmundo Sosa just went to a team where he's going to be able to play a little bit more than here, since we have Donovan and Edman, and Gorman at the time was playing as well. So,
just to kind of wrap it up, some news about Yadi. He's going to manage the Puerto Rican team at the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I got really excited when I saw that.
Player manager or just manager? Do you know anything?
I think he's just going to be a manager. I originally, when they announced, I got really happy when the World Baseball Classic was coming back, but I also got a little worried because Puerto Rico being being Puerto Rican himself, Yadi was the Puerto Rican catcher. He's one of the best catchers of all time from Puerto Rico, so he, naturally would have been the choice. But since it's a 2023 World Baseball Classic, I don't know the exact rules if you need to be on an active MLB team to be able to play as a player. Because I was wondering, if since he retires after this season, he would still be eligible to be a player next for the 2023 World Baseball Classic, right? So I didn't really know exactly how that would work. But I think he's just going to be a manager. And it'll be kind of nice because we get to see him one more time as in a managerial position, which he's going to be doing for the Venezuelan team during the regular season. So it's, and I'm very, very, not only obviously being Puerto Rican, do I think and want the Puerto Rican team to do well, I am very intrigued as a Cardinals fan as well, just to see how Yadi does as a manager. Who he puts in, who he doesn't, what he does timing wise, how mad he'll get at the umpire, because now as a manager, he doesn't need to worry all that much about getting ejected. When he's the player and he's the catcher, he's got to play. But as a manager, he might have a few more extra words, So we'll see. I think it'll be fun for everybody involved. I think it'll be a really good time.
Yeah. Do you think he'll eventually get to maybe the major leagues as a manager?
I can see him. I could definitely see him being in the major leagues again as either a manager, which I totally see, or even as just a really, really good catching coach for anybody. I can see Waino being a really good manager potentially. I don't think he's going to, but I think he could. Now we have Skip Schumacher, who's a co-manager, with Ali Marmol.
He's the bench coach.
Yeah, bench coach. So that was cool to see. But I definitely think that Yadi will come back to the majors in some capacity, maybe as a manager or as a coach. And speaking of managers, something that popped in my brain, the Mariners have collectively agreed. They didn't fire. What's his name? Don Mattingly.
Scott,
right? No.
You talking about the Marlins?
Yeah, Miami. It's not Don Mattingly.
Yeah, it is.
It is Don Mattingly?
You said Mariners.
No, yeah. Miami Marlins. Different M name. Golly. Totally different sides of the country, too, by the way. That's just absolutely... Anyway. Don Mattingly and the Mariners have collectively agreed that he's not going to be there anymore. And, since now they're in the market for a manager, the first person that came into my brain, Mike Scholl. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to pursue him potentially, because I honestly can see Mike Scholl doing well in Miami. Potentially. I think the only friction I could see potentially is with Jazz Chisholm being Jazz Chisholm. But
yeah,
I don't know. I would like to see Mike Scholl come back in some greater major league capacity.
What I would compare Mike Scholl on the Marlins to would be another former Cardinals manager, Tony La Russa, an older-minded guy going to a young team, and I don't think that they mesh. It just doesn't work that well. So I don't think they would hire Schilt.
Or not in the postseason, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they would hire Schilt because he's not the most up to date, analytically minded guy.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what baseball's all about right now. So
pretty much. Do you think Tony La Russa's done after this season, or do you think he's?
Yeah. I think he's done.
Because the White Sox, they have such good talent, but I think I don't know. Some of the decisions he's made has been a little. But I do think the White Sox could, But that I'm not going to lie, that American League Central is such a sad division. Cleveland Guardians clinch, but they have the White Sox and those are kind of like the team, and like the Twins. Those are kind of like the three teams that are sort of good, but don't even have a good enough record to beat the fourth or the third place team in the American League East in Baltimore. And then you have Detroit, which is just, not great, and Kansas City, which has been not great after they won the World Series. They won the World Series, and they're like, we're getting rid of everybody. And they've been terrible. But, man, people complain about the NL Central being an easy division, which, granted, it can be at times. But that American League Central division, woof. I kind of feel bad. But it's okay.
Yeah, so we got a few games left against the Pirates.
The Pittsburgh Pirates.
And that about wraps up the season.
Crazy. Just freaking crazy. Because it's a 6-game series. I'm calling it a 6-game series. I know that we play half of it in Pittsburgh, half of it home, but it's back-to-back. Like, it's a 6-game series.
Yeah.
I'm calling it like that. But only 3 more regular season, postseason games. Being that we have the record that we are and we win the division, we play all of the wild. That's something good for the wild card. All of the wild card games are at Busch Stadium. Home field advantage. So nice, especially if we're talking about Albert Pujols doing something cool in the postseason. Home field advantage is going to be, seeing Busch Stadium just absolutely, because, we get packed anyway, no matter what, for postseason baseball and just regular season baseball in general. But the fact that we have the history with Albert, Waino, and Yadi doing what they're doing, it is going to be a sold-out crowd every single time. It is going to be absolutely electric, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's just a special team this year, and I think they really need to capitalize on it. Put a little exclamation mark on a
very much so. And the thing is that we definitely can. Definitely can. It's not like just it would be nice fairy tale thing. Like, would it be? Obviously, it is a fairy tale story, but it is a very tangible fairy tale story. This is going to be probably the most fun I will ever have in a postseason. It's going to be, it's going to be good.
All right. I think that's good.
Yeah, I guess we'll reconvene again. Probably when the season is over. Talk a little, give a little bit of a preview for the wild card,
for the postseason
roster. See what's happening, and then after that, in 2 weeks we'll be talking about the Cardinals going. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to not say. I'm not going to finish that sentence. But yeah, no, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time.
All right.
I'll see you next week.
See ya.